Educators of New Orleans. Thank you to all the educators who came out to the 4th annual NOLA Teacher Fest at Champion Square. We had over 2,000 attendees. Special thank you to our sponsors, Allstate Sugar Bowl, Entergy New Orleans, Raising Cane's, Align Ed New Orleans, Agenda for Children, and Ochsner Children's for their commitment and support. Teachers and school leaders, enjoy the summer break.
Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Governor Kathy Hochul unveils 2 new I Love New York summer ads showcasing New York's beaches, mountains, arts, and New York City.
This summer in New York State, there's everything to love. From cityscapes to green lakes.
The campaign targets tourists via digital billboards, social media, and festivals across the Northeast with a focus on attracting international visitors. The Trump administration plans to start revoking visas for Chinese students. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced Wednesday that students who would have their visas canceled would include those who have ties to the Chinese Communist Party or those studying in critical fields. And the Department of Health and Human Services is ending a $590 million contract with Moderna to develop a bird flu vaccine. The deal aimed to counter a virus that mainly affects birds but can spread to humans. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning. Wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Wake up, New Orleans. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Is it Thursday? Oh my God, the week is almost over. Happy Thursday,
Friday
everybody.
Eve.
I'm your host, Dr. Sean Sawai. Shout out to my super producer, Nara Sanders, who is not in the building today, so we would have to just deal with our general manager, Justin Lewis. Hey, Justin.
Running the
and my
board,
co-pilot
doing the
this
things
morning
behind the
is
glass.
Will Sutton.
Good morning, New Orleans.
It's a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. I don't know if it's wonderful to y'all because it's storming outside, but I had a taste of this storm on yesterday because I was drenched on my way to the New Orleans East Hospital to cover
you got caught in that.
Farmers Market. Yes. Myself, our girl Zoe, and our super producer, Naira Sanders, we went over to the Farmers Market on Reed Boulevard at the New Orleans East Hospital to cover the wonderful event that was, and it was a wonderful event. Shout out to Tavis Smiley for letting me break into his show to give y'all some updates about the Farmers Market, and I purchased something because, baby, listen, the pepper jelly, listen, Linda. It was delicious. So I got some of that. But I was able to try a number of things. There's a young lady from Roll That Dough, young girl. She bakes from scratch. She had cookies, fresh bread, all sorts of goodies. But the cookie was good enough to slap your mama. Yeah, just slap her.
Oh, my.
Just slap her. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. 10 out of 10, I recommend. It was so good. And so there were other vendors that there were fresh fruits and vegetables from some vendors. There was handmade jewelry from Secret Jewelry, SECRED Jewelry. And y'all, I'm remembering all this off the top of my head, so forgive me if I leave anybody out. Our girl T at T Sweets, Treats, and Pastries. That's off the top of my head. I had to get that right. She has pound cake that is literally, don't die for it, but you could die for it because it's good. It's to die for. It's really good. There were a number of vendors doing some amazing things. There was a young lady selling hibiscus tea. It was so good. Oh my goodness. I don't know if y'all should send me to this stuff because I was just
hibiscus tea.
It was
a good one. It's really good.
Tea. It was so good. She had some chamomile tea. She had teas for everything, and she can tell you what the properties were, what they help with, inflammation, all of that good stuff. It was really a good thing. But there was one gentleman, Mr. Bickham, from Ruthie B's Pies. And Mr. Bickham said to me to tell anybody who's listening to WBOK anywhere, whether you're in a parish, whether you're in a city, all the way up to Texas. Some of y'all listen from far, far away, but Mr. Bickham, because he told me to call him Mr. Mr. Bickham from Ruthie B's Pies, say he's willing to put his sweet potato pie up against any sweet potato pie.
In this area?
He's calling,
oh, my goodness.
He's calling you out. He's calling you out. So if you think that your sweet potato pie is sweet potato pie and Mr. Bickham over at Ruthie B's Pies, he said
Oh, boy.
he is issuing a challenge. And what I'm going to reach out to is our rep, Alonzo Knox. Because, baby, I love his sweet potato pie. And he better answer this call. You better not back down because we from New Orleans. We don't play that kind of stuff around here.
Ooh,
But
Lord.
Mr. Bickham said, put your pie
Sweet
up.
potato pie.
Mr. Bickham said, send your
Bake
best
off.
hitter. Yeah, that's
A
what
bake off.
And I just volunteered WBOK to host the bake off. I just did it like that. But yeah, I had a wonderful time at that event. It was really, really dope. And I think they do it once a month. And then look, shout out to Gerard as well, because I was literally stepping in for Gerard. He typically goes to the farmers market and does his live broadcast from there. But he was busy, so he couldn't.
Right.
So I had to step in and take care of it for him. But I had a wonderful time. So anytime you busy, Gerard, don't worry, I got you, because it was fun. So listen, I'm
gonna have to get some of this sweet potato pie.
Yeah, what Mr. Bickham
And
said.
that cookie.
The cook. Now I taste the cookie. I didn't get a chance to taste Mr. Bickham's pie because I didn't see like a sample, and I didn't get an opportunity to purchase it. But he named it after his mother is Miss Ruthie B. So you don't get to be naming stuff after your mama and don't carry it out right. He said the original recipe is hers. And so he pays homage to her that way, but he's added flavors to the pie. So you can get a strawberry one. You can get all of the different flavors of sweet. And I never heard that before.
Yeah.
I never had a strawberry sweet potato pie. And I just think I want to stick to the rivers and lakes that I'm used to. So the original is fine with me.
Right.
I also had the pleasure of meeting a WBOK listener. I believe her name is Fern with a P though. Phern, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
She came over to the farmer's market. I don't know if she came there for the market, if she came there to see me, but I enjoyed seeing her. She bought me, my son and I, a gift. She said that I mentioned something on the air that I couldn't make, and I wanted somebody went to bring me something back, and she did. And listen, look, shout out to the WBOK listeners. Y'all know I care about y'all. I love y'all so much. So thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for loving on us. We appreciate you here. And I'm also talking to anybody that want to sponsor. You could always use our airwaves for your businesses to promote your business. So please don't hesitate to do that as well. And follow us on all social media platforms or anywhere podcasts are heard as well. Because we're everywhere, y'all. We're global.
Absolutely.
That's how I like to feel about it anyway.
Yeah. People listening from all over the world.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
And I just like to start the show with a bit of positivity. I'm working on positivity in my lifetime these days. But we do have to talk about the things that need to be talked about. Y'all do know at the 7:20 mark, it is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here on WBOK. We'll hear from the folk over at Essence Fest at 8 o'clock. And we'll have a conversation with our councilman, Joe Russo, as it relates to the Wisner Trust at the 8:20 mark. So this is a show that I do not want you to miss. So first things first, there's been yet another challenge to the 4-vote, 2-vote, because it fluctuates. It started out at 2. They did a recount. They came up with 4. Then there was an issue about the 4. All I know is the millage passed. And it's somewhere between 2 and 4 votes, Will Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
We had another challenge. Did you hear about it?
Yeah.
Shout out to Belden Baptiste. If you want to know what's going on, ask Noonie Man. Shout out to Noonie Man. But what did you hear about the newest challenge to the sheriff's 2 or 4 vote win with her millage?
Well, Mr. Daniel Augusto.
Same guy.
Same
guy from the original challenge.
Who
used his life savings to
well, he said he used everything he had at that time.
The first time, yes.
But he is making another challenge, and this is based on his belief that there was a emergency meeting held that he's questioning in the meeting and further questioning the process. So it has the potential of muddying the result, and it is a bit surprising that he has filed this additional thing. He has said, and he told me that he drives rideshare for a living, and that's a good hustle. but I'm not sure people are making $100,000 driving rideshare. And he said that this was when the last time when he challenged the recount for the more than $2,000, that was all he had at that time. So it does cost money to do filings, and so be curious to hear more about what his aim is on this one.
And also, I have questions. So if anybody's listening who has the expertise in this arena, the number is 504-582-9422, because I have a question. As long as this millage continues to be challenged, that means does that mean I should phrase it that way, because I'm questioning it, right? Does that mean that the process to then pull from the funding source to help whatever improvements that needs to be done in the jail, does that also slow that process, halt that process, or completely stop it while the judicial process is going on? Is that what happens here? Because the article says a petition contesting the election of the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office millage has been filed, citing numerous errors in the recount process. After originally passing, the recount found 2 new votes in favor of the millage. The millage will secure funding for critical programs, maintenance, and staffing for the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. The millage was renewed for the next 10 years. The petition will be heard tomorrow, 10 a.m., by Judge Nicole Shepard. So my question, as long as he continues to challenge this, that to me signals that this money won't actually be allocated so that it can help improve critical programs, maintenance, and staffing. Is that how you are receiving this?
Well, I think we're getting into territory that we haven't dealt with before, because I don't think we've had a vote this close. Well, we haven't. We haven't had a vote this close. And the voters have approved, as long as this vote stands, the 10-year funding. So that's annual funding for up to 20% of the sheriff's office budget. So if there is a challenge, my guess is, and perhaps Councilman Giarrusso, who chairs the Budget Committee, would be able to shed some light on this a little bit later. But we want to hear from other folks earlier if you know something about this. But it seems to me that there would have to be planning as if they have the money while this court challenge goes on. I don't think they can stop the spigot. But I could be wrong. I mean, that's my reading of it.
Well, I also want to know who's funding it, because there's clearly.
So you don't think Danilo?
I didn't think it the first time. I wasn't convinced the first time. There's nobody that I know with a modicum of common sense that would take all of their money that they have to file a challenge to a millage. And all of the money would imply that you're using bill money, you're using rent money. I'm not sacrificing my rent and mortgage payment to challenge something. I don't think he's using his own money, and I said that to him when we got him to call in. I'll say it to him again. If you are doing this, you have every right as a citizen to challenge whatever outcomes that you see fit. But the voters voted. The millage passed by 2. You weren't satisfied then, so you challenged it. They did a recount. They came up with 2 additional votes. You don't like the process of how they did the recount, so you're challenging it now. I want to know from him if he's, forthcoming enough to tell us who's funded it. Because you're the face of it, but you're not funding it. And we're not going to pretend like that doesn't happen in the city of New Orleans, where they find somebody to challenge things, but somebody else is footing a bill for it. Mm-hmm. Whether that be a candidate's residency, whether that be a candidate's tax paperwork, and now we're talking about a millage passing. And also, too, let's be very transparent. The address he used, is it the same address on the second petition, Will? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't actually seen that one. Yeah.
We've gone to investigate that.
Right.
And the folk over there says there are apartments atop the bar, the tavern, which is the address used on the first filing. There are apartments up there, but we put trusted people on the ground to go investigate, and by we I mean me. And they said that he don't live there, nor has he ever lived there.
Yeah. After that, he told me that he recently moved.
Oh, see, so now we playing with a shifter, like he's shape shifting all over the place. I want to know, A, where do you live, sir? I want to know, B, if ride sharing is your only source of income, how are you affording these thousands of dollars needed to challenge this millage? Because that's your right. You want to go broke doing it, have at it, baby. But I would much rather pay the bills than to be challenging a millage that is absolutely necessary. In the wake of a 10-person escape from the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, we absolutely need the resources. So, I also want to know, who is your sponsor? You know, who is Mr. Moneybags? Who is, y'all watch Annie? Anybody ever watch Annie? Who is Daddy Warbucks?
Right.
I want to know. Your girl has questions, and I hope somebody got some answers for me. But and you made a good point, Will. Maybe Councilman Georgia Russo can tell us what the status of the allocation of funding is since the millage passed, but there's some challenge to the millage. What is the process now to be able to get access to those funds while this process is going on? Is the process completely stopped?
Right.
While
because
it's going on?
we're hearing more. I mean, we're hearing about lots of things with City Hall and the jail and money and all kinds of things right now. But in a few months, other than the election, we'll be hearing more about the budget as we get closer to the election, because that's just the timing for City Council to consider various requests, including from the Sheriff's Office. But there's a lot of work that goes into preparing for those hearings, and that work includes getting the updates on the anticipated funds so that you can plan ahead and plan to ask questions and to challenge and to say why you need this money, so they can't wait until the fall.
Well, we have some very, very smart, very astute, politically astute listeners of WBOK, and I just got a text. Shout out to you, because you are politically brilliant. The current millage does not expire until next year, so they're still operating from the current millage. The money is being collected under the previous voter-approved 10 years that the voters approved 10 years ago. So thank you for that. That makes perfect sense. So when, and hopefully this is satisfied before the millage expires. But in the event that this is still a process that he's not satisfied with, and he continues to challenge it, or anyone else continues to challenge it, what happens if we're up against the clock in terms of the monies being allocated? So I guess it'll be a limbo, like the school district money, maybe?
There can be a scenario where there is another millage vote. That can happen. There's enough time for that to happen. That can happen.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing, and you were there. You heard the people from the Sheriff's Office said, we have a crisis with the technology. It's going to be done in 2 years. We can't wait till 2026. That stuff needs to be fixed.
So these are the kind of questions we're asking.
Absolutely.
So I'm wondering.
Okay, we got a call.
I don't know if this is him, but let's find out. Good morning, Dan. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. Turn him up. I can't hear him, Justin. Dan.
Good morning.
Hi there. Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you doing this morning?
Fine.
So I have a lot of questions, and hopefully we can get them in the next minute or so. But if we don't, we're going to call you back, because I would love to talk to you. What this new challenge that you've made to the millage, what is it based in? What's the new argument?
It's based on the fact. There's several arguments. First of all, there was the fact that they missing 2 ballots. And then originally when they recounted the ballots, they were short 2 yeses. So they went through the stacks that they spent 2 hours going through, and then found these 2 yeses within a matter of, like, I said 2 to 3 minutes. Mr. Odell said about 10 minutes. But then they find these missing 2 ballots. They go ahead, they certify the election where it wins by 4, and everything's hunky-dory. The news reports this, and all of a sudden they find these 2 missing ballots. After they closed and sealed all the containers, there's just 2 straight ballots lying around. That's already a violation of the chain of custody right there. There's no procedure. They should have had all the ballots during that time. If they found the ballots, how did they find the ballots? Did they go inside the containers to check them, or were they just lying around somewhere? There's the other question of the early voters. there were actually 8,265 early voters on the absentee and early voting list that was produced by the Secretary of State.
Mhm.
When they had election night results, there's only 8,073 early voters. So where's the extra 200 votes? And on the final production report, it was 8,273.
So maybe I can
But
also
there's about
we can
200
also
votes
reach
that are
out,
still missing from the final process.
I want to also reach out to the Honorable Darren Lombard to get the answer to your second question, because I would like to know that as well. But to
Hey,
your
Dan.
first question, not even question, but to your first statement about the additional 2 ballots, Dan, what I'm hearing you say is, even with those 2 additional ballots that you're questioning, the millage would have still had the original 2-vote win that it had with the sealed documents. You're saying they found 2 additional ones, which made the number 4 total, but it would have still had the 2 votes that we originally believed the millage passed by, correct?
Well, the first time they recounted, and this wasn't included in any of the stories, the first time they counted all the ballots after they spent about 2.5 hours sorting everything, making sure all the yeses were in one pile, all the no's were in one pile. They did it 3 times. It came up to be a tie.
So
So
came
they
up to be a
all
tie.
of a sudden start worried about it, okay, why is it a tie? Maybe we misplaced some of the votes. So they went through the stacks of the yeses and they went through the stacks of the no, and they, within 2 to 10 minutes, they found the 2 yeses that they needed immediately. And then go ahead, add it to, and as long as the millage passed, they were fine with it. They certified the election.
So you're saying it wasn't the 2-vote win originally that they told us. It was a tie, and then they went back and found 2 additional votes that made it 2 in the win column. But we were told that it was 4, that they found 2 additional ballots that made it a 4-vote win. That is what we were told.
What they're saying is that there are 2 yes ballots that were in the no stack.
Right.
So it didn't matter that they took away 2 no votes as long as they were yeses.
No, I understand
So-
what you're saying there, but you just told me that when they counted, it was a tie, meaning if they went
Yes.
and found the 2 yeses out the no pile, that would have been a 2-vote victory. But we were told it was a 4-vote victory at the recount.
Because it took away 2 of the no votes. They were
Right.
well, these were,
Right.
they had counted those yeses as no's originally.
Yeah, the last 2 votes that were counted, it's my understanding the last 2 votes that were counted were overseas military ballots that had been misplaced and not counted originally. They were put somewhere else, and those ballots were included in the recount to make it a 2-vote margin. Is that your understanding of what they have said they have done?
Okay, I'll explain it a little bit clearer. There was a stack of about 1,800 no votes and a stack of about 1,700 yes votes. So when they go ahead and and I can get the exact numbers, but I'm on my phone. I'm heading up to the Secretary of State. When they went ahead and said to tie, when it first counted out and it came to a tie, they're like, well, maybe we miscounted some yes votes as no votes. And so they checked the no vote stack, and lo and behold, they came up with the 2 yes votes that were originally counted as no's. So my question was how did they go through the stack of no votes 3 times to make sure it was only no's? And then when they're missing 2, they find the 2 yes ballots among the stack of no's. So when they turned 2 no's into yeses, it became a 4-vote margin of victory.
Okay, so I am absolutely going to reach out to the Honorable Darren Lombard to get some clarity around the issues that you're having. But here are my questions,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Dan. From the previous time that you and I spoke, you espoused to us that you used everything you had on your first challenge. Are you now telling us now that you've once again used everything that you've had on this second challenge? Because my question would be, who's helping finance this? Because this is not cheap. This is not cheap. This is thousands of dollars that are needed to challenge the outcome of an election. So are you telling us now that you've once again used everything that you've had to challenge the outcome of the recount to the millage?
How much does this filing cost?
Okay, so the filing cost came up to about $770. And I'll be absolutely honest. Miss Juliette Laughlin said, look, it's not fair that you went ahead, or Mrs., not fair that you went ahead and paid for this entire recount because she wanted to be part of the recount as well, and we were going to split the costs. She was also another person who asked about it. So she's like, I'll split the cost with you. And I'm like, you don't need to do it. And she snuck it to me. As far as all the filing, all the typing up all the documents, I type up all my legal documents myself. Like, I've been doing this for nonstop over a course of 4 years. I've learned how to file motions, how to file notice of motions. I've been doing all my own legal work, all my own legal research. When it comes to reading law, I have sat and I have read through multiple cases when it comes to actually going ahead and filing
So,
documents.
And what is
Dan,
that? What is
Dan.
that name again? That name again?
Juliet Laughlin.
So, Dan, I have to go, but I want to also clarify something that you shared with us the first time. The address that you used when you filed your initial petition was at the tavern. And we sent someone over, and the folk at the tavern said you do not live there, nor have you ever lived there. Where do you live in the city of New Orleans?
Oh, I have lived there.
Oh,
I absolutely have lived there. Right now, I live out of a car.
You live out of a car. So did you
That's the
use
truth. I'm here in the Orleans Parish area, and I work nonstop. But I have basically devoted everything. I have lived, breathed, ate, sleep, drank New Orleans elections.
Okay. How long have you been doing that? And when did you last live over by the term?
I appreciate the question, but we cannot get the answer. Dan, I promise you at the bottom of the show, I want to reach back out so we could continue to talk to you, but we have the congressman on the phone and we have to take a break.
Yep,
but I appreciate
absolutely.
you calling in. I appreciate you calling in, and please listen for my call because I'm going to call you back at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. Is that okay?
Sure. I'll be up by the Secretary of State's office.
All right,
All
I
right,
appreciate
all
you
right.
so much.
Thank you.
Listen, each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. We're going to take a break, and on the other side, we're going to hear from our congressman right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
All day long.
Good morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. The New Orleans Police Department says some of its officers fired at a man who crashed his car into multiple police vehicles. We're told it happened in the St. Claude area on Gallier Street near Mariah Street. Police say the driver struck multiple police units, and as they tried to arrest the suspect, officers fired shots at him. We're told the man was taken to a medical facility. NOPD Public Integrity Bureau is investigating the use of force aspect of that incident. This morning, another accused accomplice is behind bars. An arrest affidavit shows that V. Duck Wynn is accused of helping Lynn Van Buren get a hotel room before he was recaptured in Baton Rouge earlier this week. He's charged with simple escape, aggravated escape, and accessory after the fact. Now, you may recall the election for the sheriff's office millage was decided by 2 votes, and after a recount, that margin doubled to 4 votes. Now those numbers are being challenged yet again. Danilo Ficiano has filed another petition in civil district court. He's the same person who filed the suit for the initial recount. Feliciano claims there were multiple irregularities in the process. He names Sheriff Susan Hudson and Louisiana Secretary of State Nancy Landry in the suit. A judge has set a hearing on the matter for tomorrow. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta Wise. Shout out to my co-pilot this morning, the Will Sutton. Hey, Will.
Hey, good morning, New Orleans.
If you're just joining us, you missed the conversation related to the recount of the millage from the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office victory during the last election. The same guy that filed the first challenge, he's filing the second one. We were in conversation with him, and we'll pick that conversation back up at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. But right now, as you know, it's Thursday. Each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. We want to welcome our congressman to the show. Good morning, Congressman. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fantastic. I hope you guys are as well.
Good morning.
We are. I'm so excited to talk to you. I know that there's a lot that has happened since the last time, but you and I know that I want to talk about the Read the Damn Bill, Congressman Troy Carter. How are these folks signing such an impactful bill that is going to take away resources and programming from hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans without even reading the big, ugly bill?
You know, it's a combination of things. I think there's a large amount of them that are just so prepared to jump off a bridge if Donald Trump asks them to. Unfortunately, in this case, they're not just jumping off the bridge and killing themselves. They're literally killing millions of Americans by removing the safety net, by taking away health care, taking away the necessities that so many of our people in Louisiana, but also in our country, depend on. The other part of those are those that did read the bill and just didn't give a damn because they're so self-serving that they don't care about the people. And there's a portion of them that care, but they're afraid. They're afraid of Donald Trump. They're afraid of what he might do. You know what? I love serving in Congress, but I don't love anything enough to sacrifice. I don't love serving in Congress enough to sacrifice the people of Louisiana that I have sworn to serve and protect. They obviously don't care about that. And they're so enamored with their titles and so enamored with being petted on the head like a good puppy by Donald Trump that they're willing to sacrifice everyone. So when Representative Flood from Nebraska got in front of an audience of his individual constituents, and after being hammered about many of the poison pills that are embedded in this bill, poison pills that we've talked about on this show, that we knew were there, that I've posted about it. I've put it on Twitter. I put it on Blue Sky. I put it on Instagram. I've written op-eds about it. We've talked about it on the radio. So there's a portion that are just stupid and didn't read. Another part of them just don't care.
Yeah, and for the listening audience, this was not a urban area, urban state congressional representative. This is somebody from Nebraska.
Who is a card-carrying MAGA Republican.
In Seward. And these were his constituencies. And one of the things they were fussing at him about was about Medicaid cuts in Seward, not New Orleans. So, so often they want to gloss over this and kind of pretend like this Medicaid thing is like a black people not working kind of thing. These folks in his district, Seward, Nebraska, were fussing about him. How could he not pay attention? And he did fess up and say, I have to admit I didn't read it, and that's where this thing took off.
And the reality is that's absolutely malpractice. That's malpractice. The fact that you would vote on a roughly 1,100-page document that we have been talking about for months, that we have been going around the country talking about, and now you say, oopsie? No, man, you don't get an oopsie. You need to be unelected. And everyone else who voted for this bill, because this bill is a game stopper for many people. This bill, on its face, that they have the audacity to call one big, beautiful bill. But you know what? It's a heartless bill. This plan will impose $900 billion in Medicaid cuts. 14 million Americans will lose their health care, destroy hospitals, close nursing homes, parents and grandparents rely on, blowing up the state's budget. Remember, in 2016, when I was a member of the Senate, the state Senate, one of the first things that then Democratic Governor John Bell did was to sign expanding Medicaid. It put nearly 1 million people on the rolls when that was done. It allowed us to open rural, I underscore, rural hospitals that benefited primarily the people up in northern Louisiana in Republican pockets that gave them an opportunity to have access. No, this was not something that only benefited or only benefits black people or Democrats. Truth of the matter is, our speaker has nearly 40% of the people in his district dependent on Medicaid. Our members of Congress almost across the board. Listen, as you know, I represent New Orleans, River parishes, the surrounding parish of Jefferson, St. Bernard, Lafourche. But guess what? I am smack in the middle. What does that mean? That means that there are 3 members above me that are greater.
So, Congressman, I'm also concerned about the part of the big ugly bill that allows the president to defy federal courts. That was a provision in the bill that a lot of the congressmen, as they're going around to their actual home states, the folk are pushing back on. They're literally reading that provision to congressional leaders, and they're standing there admitting that they did not know that that provision was in the bill because they did not read it, and they didn't have the audacity to say they believe in the rule of law. They believe that no president should circumvent Congress or the judiciary, but yet they signed on to this bill.
Well, Dr. Wyatt, let me just put a pin there because that's an excellent point. But I want to add to that. This is not the first time this bill is not the only time the president has challenged the rule of law. This is not the only time the president has trampled over the Constitution. So if they really felt that way, there's a whole bunch of stuff they should be doing. They should be pushing back on the Emoluments Clause, which clearly states that the president shall not accept anything of value from a king, a queen, a president of a foreign country, or any other. Very, very explicit. The framers of the Constitution left no gray area there. Yet, they're silent. When the president deports citizens, he is trampling on the Constitution. When the president has these excessive tariffs, that he's trampling on the rule of law and the Constitution. When the president seeks to unilaterally undo funding that the United States Congress, with the power given to us by Article 1, to expend money, a power that is exclusively given to the Congress. So for them to say that, they're not being truthful. Oh, I support the rule of law. Well, this is only one time that you get caught with your finger in the cookie jar.
Right.
All the other times you've been doing it too. So the reality is they really don't. They're trying to backpedal to save their tails. The American people have to be smart, have to continue being smart. We have to keep checking them. We have to keep reminding them that we're not stupid. We're watching. And I'm praying, as I know you are and Brother Will, that people will never, ever miss another opportunity to vote, because what we're dealing with now is a direct result of us sitting that last race out.
You have some callers, Congressman. We're going to go to line 1. Good morning, Miss Alicia. Oh, my goodness, we dropped. You didn't lock him, so we couldn't answer him. We got to get him back on the phone. Miss Alicia, you can go ahead with your question. We're going to get the Congressman back on the phone.
Okay, my question is, first off, Dr. Wyatt, you took part of it out of my head. My question is, actually a statement. We are in dire troubles here because this big ugly bill actually takes our democracy away. There are provisions in.
Hello?
Yeah, you're here.
Right.
It's okay, Congressman. We lost Miss Alicia, but we're going to go to Reverend Calhoun on line 3. We needed to lock you in. Good morning, Rev. You're on with Congressman Troy Carter.
Good morning to all. Congressman, given that the ethics, is there any way, does this president have absolutely control over FBI? Is he the only voice? Can he decide who gets prosecuted, how much money is these lawsuits costing for him to violate the Constitution, and how much are we actually paying to go against what he feels he want to do? To sum it up quickly, I'm interested in, is there really any ethics violations that's going on with him selling out these pardons? Is there, how much money is actually being spent toward his that we are paying for his lawsuits, his fight against Harvard and all of that? So if you can just tell me quickly what that looks like and where that's at, and I'll hang back and listen. Down.
Thank you, Rev.
Thank you, Reverend Calhoun. The first part of that is absolutely it's illegal. You cannot sell a pardon. But it's not as blatant. They're not saying, hey, well, it's pretty blatant, but it's not come to the grocery store, give me $1 million and walk out with a bag of pardons. But it's pretty close to that. It is very apparent that if you follow the timeline and follow the money, $1 million contributions made on Monday, your son is pardoned on Wednesday. You know, oh, wow, what a coincidence. So, unfortunately, the president is empowered with the power to pardon. There are no stipulations to it. It is a incredible power that up until now, most presidents have treated with the respect that the Constitution and the framers of the Constitution dictated they do. This president, once again, has demonstrated that he really doesn't care about the intent of the framers or the Constitution itself. And this is where I often say on this show and on any other show I'm on, it's if you love America, if you understand the rule of law, many of our members are in fact lawyers like Representative Flood, you understand the Constitution. You understand its purpose. Republican, Democrat, Independent, or other. If you understand that, how could you be so wooed by any president? Now remind them, the things that you're doing, you're setting precedent. So if you like it because it's Donald Trump, you better like it when it's a Democrat. Because guess what? You've opened a door that you can't close. And that's the danger that we as all Americans should be concerned with. And back to the money. The lawsuits that are being filed that we're fighting on are ones that we, to date, I think we have just a little bit more than 200 lawsuits that are out there. I don't have the exact number for you, Rev, but as I've talked on this show and I talk all over the country, it's the 3 C's. The Congress and everything that we have to do to push back the fight. We spent one night, 27 hours in committee, around the clock in the committee I serve on, trying to block this big, ugly bill. Then we spent another 32 hours, almost 35 hours in total, trying to block it again when it finally went through Rules Committee into the House floor. So that's a part of the power of the Congress, the first C, to fight it with every tool, every mechanism, every tool in our toolbox, legislatively, by the rules, with amendments. And then the next C is the courts. And with that effort, we have a little over 200 lawsuits, many of which we've won. Just as recent as yesterday, we had a victory from the Supreme Court that blocked the next level of his layer of his tariffs. And then the big one, that's you, the community, which is, it's been working because of all of the letter writing, the phone calls, the town hall meetings, the Twitters and the tweets and the Blue Skies and Instagram and social media and people on the street interviewing. And thank God for Dr. Wyatt and Will and WBOK for opening the airways for unfettered discussion to educate our people about what's really going on in Washington. And that's why I'm so proud to always be here to give that information, to be as open and as clear to the American people so they can hear what's going on. So the 3 C's are functioning as we planned them to, and we're pushing back. And as a result of that, you got Republicans who are waking up saying, wait, I thought we could do this in the middle of the night. Well, they tried that. They tried doing it in the middle of the night to pass this big, ugly bill while Americans were sleeping. But guess what? We weren't asleep. We were up, and we were recording, and we were talking, and we were tweeting all night long. So you can try and do your dirt in the middle of the night, but sure enough, the light's going to come on, and we kept it on. And we're keeping it on. Now we move to the Senate. And the Senate will be there to now be the backstop. And we've got to continue the same level of pressure on our 2 Louisiana senators and all the other senators in the country that we're watching. And you cannot give our country away or let it be the demise of our people because of a president who wants to be a king.
We got Miss Alicia back on the line for you, Congressman. Good morning, Miss Alicia. You're on with Congressman Troy Carter.
Good morning. Congressman, you say that you all have stopped them, but in fact you have not. And I know it's hard.
Stop what?
But would this stop?
Wait, what did I say we stopped?
Turn her up so he can hear her. Miss Alicia, are you still there?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You said I said we stopped something? What did I say?
Y'all with the committee, and when y'all were there for 100 hours.
No, I never said we stopped it. I said we challenged them. We slowed it down. We spent 30 hours on the floor. I just said a moment ago that now it goes to the Senate, and we have to work to the next part. It's not over.
Right. I understand. Right. I understand that. But what I'm afraid about is that big ugly bill actually is and totally is against the Constitution when that big ugly bill has provisions to take away the power of the judiciary and specifically powers of the of the Congress, and give it to the president. And I am so afraid of that because we see what he's doing now, and we might be complaining about it, but he continues to roll unchecked. Let me also suggest that the DNC take some money and give to the Lincoln Project so they can come with their commercials to lambast what's going on, because that was the reason why he lost with Biden, because the Lincoln Project and their fierce commercials let people know what's really behind this man. And I think that the Democrats are not given the opportunity to get before the media, and that needs to be stopped. So y'all need to be front and center, and the media need to be just as kind and fair to the Democrats as they've been with the Republicans. Thank you for all you do. I'm behind you 100%.
Thank you, Miss Alicia.
Thank you, Alicia. Let me tell you thank you very much, and thank you for being out there at all the local meetings, all the community meetings, being the voice of sometimes telling people they don't want to hear but need to hear. So I appreciate you so much. The reality, and you hit a very important point. And Will, I want you to weigh in on this because I'm gonna tap the media a little bit.
Yep.
Because what ends up happening is Fox News and the conservative news core and the hand-selected people that the president has chosen to be in his briefings and the narratives that they paint are patently wrong. They make up for every shortcoming he has, even things that they vehemently skewered President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris on. They give a pass to him. The exact same thing. And then the more moderate or liberal media, CNN, seems to be morphing into a Fox Light. Bill Maher, who is someone that I enjoyed, past tense, watching, is morphing into a more friendly Trump outlet. So we are limited in the venues that will allow us to be as frank as we are on WBOK. What do you say to that? Well, I hate to flip the script and become the interviewer.
No. I think you're absolutely right. And one of the things that I think is important for folks to realize about Fox News is that if you look at their schedule over the course of 24 hours, there's very little news in the show lineup across the day. So it's actually a Republican talking points machine with commentary, and I am a commentator, a columnist, so I get that part. But if you think of it this way, if the Times-Picayune and the Advocate put out just anything that Will Sutton and other people thought, you would get some inklings of news, but it wouldn't be the coverage of the news. So that has its place. And people are caught up in what the name of that group is, Fox News. And too many people thinks it's news, and it's not news because they spin things in a different way. And oftentimes it's just inaccurate. It's wrong. Plus, you mentioned other media outlets. So Fox has outlets, conservative outlets, that are further right than Fox. And they are chipping at Fox's viewership, and those are additional outlets. That's not really true for liberals, progressives, Democrats, independents. There are not as many of those networks and outlets like that. So have to take advantage of all of the outlets that we do have, like WBOK, to get these messages out. And it doesn't mean always agree. And I know you agree with this. We can have debates about a policy point, a philosophical point, and that's for the enrichment of all of us. Doesn't mean always agreeing. But let's have those discussions and debates based on facts.
And I totally agree with you, Will. And I'm gonna give you a little shout out, because while you are a commentator, you do in your commentary report the news. You're talking about what's happening in the last shooting. You're talking about what happened in the last election. Your commentary is, in my estimation, what a commentary should be. Fox News' commentary is leading. It is promoting. It is propaganda. So, respectfully, brother, I would not insult you by putting you in that category. Because, it's okay to be a commentator. That's great. But when you are so heavy-handed that you have one person that you promote every single day, you make an excuse for the $400 million airplane and say, who would not? Trump says, you'd be stupid not to take it. And guess what? The talking line on every other, on all of those conservative news, you'd be stupid not to take it. He spoon feeds them, and they regurgitate. He gives them what to say, and they say it. And then you have people then come, and before you know it, look at the Twitter sphere, look at the Blue Sky sphere. Then you start hearing people saying, well, he'd be stupid not to take it. It's $400 million. He's building relationships. Well, when just a heartbeat ago, Qatar in his mind was the worst of the worst, and we should not even entertain them. When Hunter Biden was doing work outside of the country, they said it was illegal, that he should lock him up, he should go to jail. But now the Trump boys are all over the world selling nothing but air in this whole Bitcoin scheme, which is a Ponzi scheme. He's selling nothing with hopes that the more you put in it, it becomes something. That's a Ponzi scheme.
All right. Hey,
he's made an estimated $10 billion already selling nothing. He had a meeting just last week where the participants, many of which came in wearing masks because they didn't want to be seen and they wanted to keep the confidentiality of the people who were essentially showing up to bribe the president. Come on, man. You can't make this stuff up.
Congressman, the Republican Senate has a narrow majority. It's 53 to 47. There seems to be some Republican senators who are expressing concern about the bill. Doesn't seem that they paid attention to it as it was going through the House, but since they've seen things like the town hall in Nebraska, they're realizing that there's some concerns and suggesting some changes. One of the reasons the furthest right in the House was opposing the bill and waited a while before they came was the $4 trillion increase in the debt ceiling. That's probably going to be an issue in the Senate, but how likely is it that this can get significantly changed or die in the Senate?
It is going to be significantly changed for a number of reasons. One, there is something called, first of all, as you know, we passed this bill through reconciliation, which is a expedited way of passing a budget bill that requires a majority and not a supermajority. So what will happen by this bill being passed by reconciliation has to be a budget, has to be budgetary. Many of these poison pills were embedded in this bill, and now when it gets to the Senate, there's something called the Byrd bath. Former Congressman Robert Byrd, when he was a member of the Senate, passed legislation that created a check that must be done when reconciliation comes from the House to the Senate. It is a parliamentarian process, meaning it's not done by Republicans or Democrats, not done by members of the Senate, but by a unilateral, independent body. The parliamentarian gives what's referred to as a Byrd bath, named after Robert Byrd. The Byrd bath will scour and screen every aspect of this bill and pull out anything that is not budgetary, meaning these poison pills should be and will be pulled out and taken out of the bill. And the only way that can be blocked is if 60 members of the United States Senate agree with it and overrule the parliamentarian's ruling that it should not be there. They're not going to get 60 votes, obviously, because that means, members of the Democratic Party and every single Republican has to vote to essentially give President Trump all the power and to undo our democracy. So my confidence on that point is, shame on you, but guess what? We weren't sleeping. We got you, dummy. We got you. You thought you were smart, but you aren't.
Congressman, don't let the New Orleans come out you like that.
Gotta let it come out. Got a little cut off.
Look, I got you. I'm gonna be your safety net. Look, you gotta let me say the big crazy things. But before I let you go, because I know your schedule is really, really busy, I just want you to touch on quickly the passing, the unfortunate news about the passing of Representative Jerry Connolly, the Democrat out of Virginia, but that leaves a vacancy for a leader of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. And we do know there are 4 Democrats vying for that appointment. What are your thoughts there? Is this a new direction forward for the Democrats?
Well, it's an opportunity. Jerry Connolly was a fine gentleman, a dear friend of mine, and a fearless soldier who served with distinction on the Judiciary Committee, Oversight, and many others, and unfortunately last week succumbed to cancer, which we will miss him dearly. He's an outstanding member of our caucus, and he'll be missed. That opens an opportunity for another Democratic member to rise as the ranking member, and ranking member is the top Democrat on the committee when Congress is not in charge. When Congress is in charge again, they become the chairman of the committee. And there are 3 or 4 members. On any given day changes, but changes on who will be vying for that position. Because I have not been shy about my friendship with my little sister, I'm going to be very clear. I fully support Jasmine Crockett
I don't know if that was an LGS thing, but I sure was leading you to the water, and I'm sure glad you started drinking it because that's where I was going, Congressman. I appreciate that too. Like I appreciate your candidness there.
And some people, let's wait and see. Well, look, I call balls and strikes. It's how I sleep well at night. It's easier for me to tell the truth and just to be who I am and not have to fake it. And Jasmine Crockett is my dear friend. I refer to her as my little sister. She refers to me as her big brother. She is a dynamic leader. She's not afraid of anything. She's smart as a whip, and she will be probably the strongest investigative tool that we have to have her head the oversight committee, which would be the committee that would call out the illegal, immoral, unethical actions of any member of Congress or indeed President of the United States, to be true to form, to be open, honest, and raw. She calls it as she sees it. And some people don't like it. I love it.
So
the only people that would not like this is people who don't love the truth.
Listen,
All
that's
right.
a bell right there.
It's
Look,
8 a.m.
Congressman, I definitely, absolutely, unapologetically appreciate you and what you do in service to this city, this community, our state, our nation. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for always availing yourself to us, this little black radio station here in the city of New Orleans each and every Thursday. We appreciate you. Keep fighting the good fight, and we right here behind you.
Hey, listen, we love you guys. Keep doing what you do. God bless you both. God bless WBOK. Let's keep the people informed. And as I leave, I want to put a pitch for what I'd like to talk about next week. Let's pick up on the bird bath and what the next steps are when we go to the Senate.
Oh, that's great.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Congressman.
Yep,
we'll
wonderful.
talk to you soon.
Have a great day.
Thank you, guys. God
Bless
bless.
you. Look, I know my brother is on the line, but we got to go to break. Can I take his call or you want me to go to break real quick? So, look, bro, you want to
take the call.
Look, we're gonna take your call because you've been holding. Hey, Aaron, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. Aaron? We lost him because he listened to me. He did what I asked him to do.
Okay.
We're gonna pick you up at the bottom of the hour. I appreciate you holding. I appreciate everybody listening. We have to take a break here. A word from our sponsors, but when we come back, we'll hear from the folks over at Essence Fest, and they brought the whole kit and caboodle to talk to us today, y'all. Y'all stay with us right here. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. We will see breaks in the rain, possibly more sunshine in the afternoon, but more storms may fire up with daytime heating, possibly severe. Main impacts, though, would be strong winds. Highs today only reach the mid-80s. Rain ends by late evening. More scattered showers Friday, dry and comfortable for the weekend. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Reshaw.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, Policing, and You. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
This summer, let your child's creativity shine at Camp Art, New Orleans' most vibrant, arts-driven camp experience for kids ages 4 to 12. Hosted by Beyond the Stage, Camp Art blends visual art, theater, music, dance, and creative writing with New Orleans history and culture. Plus, field trips, guest artists, and camper showcases. With full-day programming before and after care and sessions starting June 9th, it's the perfect fit for working parents. Fun, enriching, unforgettable. Register now at beyondthestagellc.com/Camp Art and follow us on social media at Beyond the Stage LLC.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans. New Schools for New Orleans is committed to celebrating the hardworking teachers of New Orleans. Thank you to all the educators who came out to the 4th annual NOLA Teacher Fest at Champion Square. We had over 2,000 attendees. Special thank you to our sponsors, Allstate Sugar Bowl, Entergy New Orleans, Raising Cane's, Align Ed New Orleans, Agenda for Children, and Oshner Children's for their commitment and support. Teachers and school leaders, enjoy the summer break.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is threatening to veto any state budget that includes broad-based taxes to balance an estimated $1 billion deficit.
I'm telling you, anything that's broad-based and that would have a negative impact on working families, I would veto a budget like that.
Pritzker said he would specifically veto any budget that includes tax increases on individuals, corporations, or the sales tax. The Capitol Jewish Museum reopens today in Washington, D.C., just over a week after a deadly shooting outside. 2 Israeli embassy staffers were killed on May 21st. The museum opens at noon, following a memorial service for the victims. And President Trump has pardoned rapper NBA Youngboy, who faced fraud and gun charges and commuted 6 life sentences for Gangster Disciples co-founder Larry Hoover. Hoover remains in prison on a separate 200-year sentence for a 1973 murder in Illinois. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And we are back. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my pretend super producer, our general manager, Justin Lewis, and my co-pilot this morning,
behind the glass.
Will Sutton. Hey,
Good
Will.
morning, New Orleans.
If you're just joining the conversation, you missed Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays each and every Thursday right here at WBOK, but we have a treat for you anyway. So if you missed the congressman, you have the beautiful, exquisite women of Essence. We want to welcome Baku Tubman to the Good Morning Show. She's the Chief Community Officer at Essence, and Michelle Thornton G, our Chief Content Officer at Essence. Welcome to the Good Morning Show, everybody.
Thank you.
Listen, y'all, when I walked out into the lobby, I said, is everybody flying? Listen, if a prerequisite is looking like that at 7 a.m., I don't know. Y'all look good. I ain't gonna use my lie.
Yeah, Thank you. Yeah. So do you, though. So do you.
Beautiful thing to see first thing in the morning. Beautiful
black women. Listen, I love
it. That's why I go to Essence Fest every year.
I know that's right.
Listen, if the prerequisite is looking like that, some of y'all can't even fill out the application because the women are fly. Do you hear me?
Well, we try to be beautiful inside and out.
Yes. There you go. Exactly.
I do get my brain tickled and full.
Okay. I love it.
But look, everything black is beautiful, so we winning over here. But we're here talking about Essence Fest, which is happening July 4th through the 6th. So we're talking all things Essence. What about who you want to talk to us about? Lead us into the conversation.
First of all, this is we're always excited to be back in New Orleans, baby. I always love to say that. I've been waiting to say that. I love y'all. This like New Orleans is so resilient. It's a lot of black beautiful people, and so we come here because this is like the culture culminates here every year through Essence Festival of Culture, and nothing's going to be different this year. It's just going to get better. So, of course, you all know the 4th through the 6th, the Convention Center, the Superdome, the concert series at night, and all of the other things we're doing throughout the footprint. So make sure you mark your calendars to get your ticket. But, you know, the Superdome, everybody always wants to talk about talent. Who's going to be showing up? What we going to do? We literally are celebrating 55 years of this brand this year. That part. And so, you know, the music is going to show that. The Convention Center is going to show that. We got Maxwell at the Superdome. Woo-hoo. That's right. But then we also got Glorilla. Listen, get him, Glow. We got your own Master P, who this is his last performance. And he is doing something he's never done before. You know, he just had a show, but he's like, no, what I'm coming with, they've never seen, because he's been waiting for this moment to headline an Essence Festival of Culture. Because, you know, you all grew up on Essence Fest. We got Davido, so we going global. We got Summer Walker. We have Donnell Jones. We have Money Long. We have Boyz II Men. We have Babyface. We have Jermaine Dupri coming with an epic tribute to the late, great Quincy Jones through our Essence Flowers, bringing... You name it. He's got Robin Thicke, Tyrese, SWV, Escape, and a host of others. Let me see who. I don't know if I'm missing anybody. Please jump in.
Because what Barku wants to say is that we got Jilly from Philly.
Oh, I was coming to that. I was coming.
Jasmine Sullivan, come on, all Philly.
With Patti LaBelle. Jill Scott with them Philly joints coming with Patti LaBelle and Jasmine. And we got Erykah Badu.
And you know, you know Patty take her shoes off.
She gonna take them off.
So yeah, she take
Patty,
her shoes off.
she take her shoes off. She gets to twerking, and then she brings some friends on stage to twerk with her, and you'd be like, wait, where y'all been? So it's yes, we're excited. We are really, really excited about this year's lineup. We are excited about this year's festival because, you know, the soul of the festival is also the parties at the Superdome. The soul is in the Convention Center.
Yeah.
You know, where you please the app. You have to download the app to access the Convention Center, but there will be people there for those of us who are technically challenged, because I'm one of those people, to access the Superdome. I mean, the Convention Center, but that's where, you know, the Food and Wine Festival is. That's where community and culture meet. That's where you connect with, you know, those people that, you know, excite you, influence you, you learn from, your mentors on Instagram. You get to see them in person at the Convention Center. So from our Essence Main Stage conversations to BeautyCon, the programming just really is there to serve the community, uplift the community, give them all the resources. So when they leave here, they going back into their communities very different.
And let me just say, as somebody who goes every year, you don't just see them on the stage.
That's correct.
Because they love Essence Fest. They love New Orleans. So you see them for their assignment on stage. But then you see them walking around.
That's right.
Like you, with you.
That's right.
Going to the other things.
That's right.
And enjoying things as a participant. And then you see them out on the streets.
That's right.
Because they don't come and do their thing and then leave. They're here for Essence Fest in New Orleans.
So, Michelle, as the chief content officer, are we going to see like the panels that are traditionally Essence, where you can hear from folk like in the little small venue areas? Is that still happening at Essence Fest?
Yeah, so Barku said it. She said it's the soul. So let me just tell you quickly. First of all, my family's from here. My uncle still lives down by Dillard University.
Come on,
so
family.
I grew up in Oakland, California.
Is somehow connected to New
like
Orleans.
My grandmother, all her 5 kids from New Orleans. So,
are y'all related to the Pope too?
No. No.
I mean, you could
But you know what? But I might. You know what? Let me ask ChatGPT. I might be. I'm gonna find out because I'm gonna roll through this. But I have such an honor to make sure that I'm doing what Essence did for me. So I shared this in the interview before. In 2016, I was looking for something different. I was stagnant, kind of felt invisible in corporate America. And I came here, and I'll never forget it. Yala Van Zant was speaking, and she said something I will never forget. She said, "You're holding so hard on the hand of history that you can't walk into your future." And so that moment changed literally my life. And then I became to be an executive and a CEO and all these things. And so my job is to make sure that I'm programming every stage so that, yes, we can have fun and we can go listen to music, but maybe somebody's life is going to be changed. And when we know we change one life, it changes the community. So we are going to program the stages like that, from the Essence stage to the Authors Pavilion, where we're going to give away some book deals. They're going to move on to small businesses because we know we like to amplify them. Then we're going to move on to the Wellness House because we know we're under attack. Like, we cannot just overlook the fact that this community is under attack and that DEI is being rolled back and that our history is time to be erased. So we're going to make sure that we give all of that. So when you come here and you buy your ticket and you go on your app to download it, that we're giving you more than what you have ever dreamed of.
I like the fact that you walked me. Go ahead.
Let me pick up on book deal.
Book deal. Yeah. We partner with Penguin Books.
Somebody's gone to attend Essence Fest and walk away with a book deal?
Yes. Correct.
Talk a little bit more about that. I mean, because we got a lot of talented folk here.
No, listen.
A lot of entertainers, but some good authors and writers. And I know people come from all over, but
yeah, so when we were thinking about it, and we partner, and Barku and I are partners, and we partner with the sales team, right? Penguin came through really, really big for us, Random House Penguin, and they said, listen, we want to host the Authors House, but more than that, we want to be able to seed into the community. So not only are they going to give away a book deal, they're going to make sure they're working with vendors that are Black, right? So we love the fact that we can bring in $350 million last year we brought through the city of New Orleans, and now we're bringing other opportunity, and that's what this is all about, right?
So you were walking me into the next question I was going to ask, which is, how important is it for you to work for an organization where you feel seen, you feel validated, and not only do you feel seen and you feel validated, but you can also see others and validate others?
Yeah, I'll answer this, and then I'll let Baku answer. You know, when I started at Essence, and I've worked for Black media for a really, really long time, because once I left the traditional media companies and started working for Black Mirror, you never go back because it's so great. But I posted I love my Black job on Instagram, and it got I love my black job. I love my Black job. And 140,000 people saw that video, but a bunch of folks who are part of a party in the political landscape had commentary on that. And so it really validated the fact that you're just so ignorant that I can't even love my Black job. So I take it really seriously, and I want to make sure that other people are seen when we are, you know, invisible oftentimes. So
and let me say this, Michelle, we also don't get caught up in people's ignorance either.
Come on, say it again. I didn't hear you. What?
We're gonna let it shine.
We don't get
ignorance,
caught up in other
right?
people's ignorance because because I think that's part of the distraction, right? They want to get you caught up in their ignorance so you don't get to continue to amplify the beauty that is Black. I bet on Black every time. I wear Black.
I love
it's
it.
my favorite color.
I love it.
You understand? I love Black people, even the ones I don't like.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we want to be clear about that. But the same question for you, Barku. How important is it for you to work for an organization that sees you and validates you, but then you also get to see and validate other folks?
I think it's extremely important. I just sit in a place, I became a mom later on in life, and so it really rooted me in the importance of purpose. It's not just doing things just because we want to check. I want to make sure that anything that I'm a part of is personally aligned with my personal mission. And one of the beautiful things about being at Essence is we always say mission over money. We hold our, you know,
Hold on, Marco, let me get
I love the bell. I love the bell. But it's true because I always say Essence is a service organization, because how we plan, to Michelle's point, what you're going to get. It's not just come and have a great time. We're going to make sure that we're serving you while you're having a great time. You're going to walk away with that book deal. You're going to personally connect with that celebrity that you may have read in the beautiful pages and on our digital platforms at Essence, because these people encourage and inspire you. Michelle talked about her life-changing moment, you know, being at Essence, and that's what we want when you come to Essence. We want you to feel seen. I want to feel seen, and, you know, because we understand as Black women, and we're all different kinds of Black women, right? We can lend our collective voices to ensure that we stay committed to our mission, and we're guided by our cultural affirmation. And this year at Festival is Made Like This, because we want to really share that Black is made like this. We're amazing in every industry that we touch. We operate at the highest level, and we want to remind you of that in case you don't remember, because you are born into excellence. Sometimes society will show you that you're not, but Essence is here to remind you, and I am for that because I feel like I am a service provider, and that's what I love to do.
I think that there's something very magnetic about any environment where a whole bunch of black women, black folk get to commune. There is something about the energy in a space. It is almost as if you're channeling the affect of your ancestors when we all come together and just love on each other. And I do believe that there is healing energy in black folk coming into community with each other. And for me, Essence and New Orleans coming together, there's no better place to be on this earth than in New Orleans at Essence time. Because even if you're not at Essence, you feel the magnetism of what is happening. They can say what they want, but y'all made Girls Trip the movie that Girls Trip was. Because baby, let me tell you something. Everybody wanted to come to New Orleans and go downtown and try to swing from one balcony to the other one.
I still want to do that.
Maybe today.
Let's do it today.
I think that you guys don't give yourselves enough credit for who you are in black spaces. Essence is the epitome of black excellence. The same way I feel like WBOK is the essence of black entertainment. When you talk about politics and talk radio and all of the shows that we put on, and you get to unapologetically be who you are on the airwaves. And that's why I like my little black job.
I love it.
Because I have big old opinions, big ones, and I get to espouse those every single day unapologetically.
Yeah.
And so thank you for who you are in terms of Essence. Thank you for showing up beautiful and unapologetic and let your light shine. Ain't nobody got time for their ignorance, because what we do know is mediocrity can't stand next to excellence on any given day.
They can't
at all.
Yeah.
And all we do is remind them of how small they are when we come around. That's why they're so bothered.
Extremely.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why they're so bothered.
They know when they see smoke, there's some fire.
Listen.
They know how we coming
And
through.
but we don't want to leave our men out, so we're going to bring Will in this conversation, because he's over there feeling a little lonely because these black women having a black woman moment.
I'm all about the black women because I was birthed by a black woman. I got black sisters. I got black nieces.
And a black wife.
I got a black
42
wife.
years?
More than 40 years.
Oh,
Wow.
He's like, I'm not messing up them years.
You
More
know,
than 40.
Okay.
Wow.
Got to keep doing it. So I love going to Essence Fest for the big black women symposium and the essence of black splash with the men. So brothers, going out to Essence because you're going to enjoy the show
Yes,
enjoy the beauty, but it will fill your heart.
Yeah.
It will fill your heart. It fills my heart to go there and see black women of all kinds, from all places, and so many smart people bringing it on the stage. Now, I'm not talking about the nighttime. I'm just talking about the daytime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, I mean,
the goodies are great.
Y'all always some real good stuff each and every year.
So,
But I want to say this, Will, and we welcome you and all of the men to Essence, because we can't serve black women if we don't serve their community and their whole self. So we serve them deeply. So you can't serve her if you don't take care of her husband. You can't serve her if you don't take care of her son. You can't serve her if you don't take care of her nephew. You can't serve her if you don't take care of her community. So everything is there. We have Suede. We have conversations and things specifically catering to our black men, because we know our black men need to be seen and heard. And as their mothers, we want to make sure we provide a space for that too. So yes, don't just come to hold her bag and see how pretty we are. Come to also lend your voice and participate.
Let me tell you what I heard, Baku, when you just said that. All you single women out there, Baku just invited all the black men down there. I heard her say that is where you need to be July 4th through the 6th. If you need a man, you're looking for a man, you want a man. I think that's because she just put out the best signal. All the men gonna be down there.
But it's for them.
It's for them.
Like, we are intentional, right? We are intentional about what we program. We are intentional. We cannot serve a black woman if you don't care about her children. I don't care. Like, we're not happy. We're over here. We're all mothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know, like, we do this work and we do it proudly and we show up all the time, but let your child call.
But I like to infuse humor in my job because it's the way I stay sane.
Me too.
But I want to be very clear here. I also believe that having black men and black women in the same black space is healing. there is some division between black men and black women, I think it's a fallacy. I think it's an argument that folk are trying to push to further divide us. But we understand that wherever a black man is and wherever he's leading, as black women, we have no problem standing in support of our men. And I want to be very clear with that, because there are too many fallacies that we allow to permeate through our culture. Black women love black men.
Absolutely.
Black men love black women.
Absolutely.
Black men are good fathers. Like I think
Absolutely.
Essence is an opportunity to dispel all of those
100%.
fallacies and all of those myths about black community. And so I'm grateful that you always choose New Orleans to bring all of that black joy here, because we're resilient, but we're tired of being resilient. Essence gives us an opportunity to thrive, and that's what I love most about the Essence Fest being in my city.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So there's that on that. So
absolutely.
Bring your black Q,
Oh,
single
yeah.
friends.
Absolutely.
Your cousins,
Your cousins,
your
Bring
brothers.
your cousins.
Single purple night
Your
friends.
cousins. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Uh-oh.
But
She's
you got
talking about my man villages.
Yes.
You got the floor for the last 30 seconds. Just tell the folk what you need them to know. Put a pin in it for us, Barku. Put a pin in it for us, Michelle. What is there to be expected this year for Essence Fest?
Well, first, I really do want to say thank you to the city of New Orleans and the state of Louisiana. Our host committee partners are amazing to us. You all, welcoming us and allowing us to continue to amplify, not what Essence is doing, but what we do together with the city of New Orleans is amazing. I got to shout out Team Essence and everybody that comes together to do this. And then there's a lot of people on the ground that makes this happen. So, the pin in it for me is that we couldn't do it without the partnership. That's it. And I want to make sure, I think what's really important is, as we talk about the convention center being the soul and where black economic power is just loud in that space with the small businesses you get to connect to in the conversations, download the app, because we're also doing something very special this year called The Journeys. And what that is partnering with local New Orleans small businesses to take you through different journeys. If you're a foodie, there's a food journey. And if you want to go through wellness, there's a wellness journey, and it's all rooted in how to connect to local New Orleans business, even outside of our footprint. So download the app. Not only is that what you need to get to the convention center, but it will give you all of the insights on how to navigate festival and all the other things that Essence does outside of festival, which keeps you connected, that culminates here. And of course, our partners, our corporate partners that helps us, to do this. And we will be going into community this year, serving the community, with our community day. And so we will give more information on that. We're doing that with Master P and some other local New Orleans celebrities that will come with us. We'll be providing services, testing, breast screening, heart health, et cetera, all the things that community need, but we're going to be having fun too. So.
All right. So I will say, we are creators by nature. Like, we're the greatest creators, and we make a whole bunch of people a whole lot of money. And so I say, I want every creator to hit the ground. I want you to buy your ticket. I want you to be here to amplify and elevate this amazing platform that seasons them every single day. Have your phone out, post something great, pass the torch, inspire somebody, and do it with us, because we're doing it on all these other platforms we're not getting paid for. We love you. We want to be here. We're part of New Orleans. We see it in this community. So let's do it together, and let's make some amazing memories and content so that we can amplify and change other people's lives.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
And I want to just say this before we have to break. My dear friend, Treese Coward, her birthday is that week. She wanted me to thank y'all for throwing her a party each and every year.
Hey, let's go. She a cancer like me. Let's go.
Personal party.
It is.
She texted me. She wanted me to thank y'all for throwing.
Tell me her name again.
Yeah, what's her name?
Armtrees. Okay.
Armtrees. Okay. Oh, tell Armtrees to send me her picture so we can shout her out on Essence.
There you go.
On Essence. Yo, I'm telling you right now. I think I have the power to do that. I think I have the power to do that. Yeah, I think I can amplify.
You hear you're going to be featured in Essence, girl.
Okay, come on.
Well, listen, I want to thank Barku Tubman, the Chief Community Officer over at Essence. You are a dynamite. I appreciate you. We want to also thank Michelle Thornton G, who's going to feature my friend for her birthday.
Okay.
Chief Content Officer at Essence Ventures. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
spending time at this little black radio station. We appreciate all you do.
Good.
I can't thank you enough for who you are to this community, and thank Essence for thinking enough of this community to bring y'all on board, because baby, y'all are killing it, knocking out the park. I cannot wait till July to see what my friend's birthday party gonna look like. I want to thank you for being here. Y'all keep listening, because we're gonna keep talking. On the other side of the break, we're gonna jump into conversations with our councilman, Georgia Russo. That and a whole lot more right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. The New Orleans Police Department says some of its officers fired at a man who crashed his car into multiple police vehicles. We're told it happened in the St. Claude area on Gallier Street near Mariah Street. Police say the driver struck multiple police units, and as they tried to arrest the suspect, officers fired shots at him. We're told the man was taken to a medical facility. NOPD Public Integrity Bureau is investigating the use of force aspect of that incident. This morning, another accused accomplice is behind bars. An arrest affidavit shows that V. Duck Wynn is accused of helping Lynn Van Buren get a hotel room before he was recaptured in Baton Rouge earlier this week. He's charged with simple escape, aggravated escape, and accessory after the fact. Now, you may recall the election for the sheriff's office millage was decided by 2 votes, and after a recount, that margin doubled to 4 votes. Now those numbers are being challenged yet again. Danilo Feliciano has filed another petition in civil district court. He's the same person who filed the suit for the initial recount. Feliciano claims there were multiple irregularities in the process. He names Sheriff Susan Hudson and Louisiana Secretary of State Nancy Landry in the suit. A judge has set a hearing on the matter for tomorrow. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Actively Black is a growing athleisure clothing brand focusing specifically on the tastes and styles of people of color. And it's owned and operated by former college basketball star Lanny Smith. I talked with Lanny, and he expressed to me how important it is for him to use his platform to reinvest in underserved communities. Through the brand and his Active Faith initiative, he's put together several local events for communities, including ones focused on mental health.
We did one at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood for Inglewood, residents. That was very powerful. When you think about how much mental health is talked about now, a lot of people miss out on the fact that there are a lot of people who don't have access to that. You know what I'm saying? So just even being able to have events like that to give that access to people who lack it is amazing.
Actively Black also has a special focus on healthier food access and HBCUs. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's Elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Our general manager,
Mr. Justin
Lewis, and our co-pilot this morning, D. Will Sutton. Hey,
Good
Will.
morning, New Orleans.
If you just joined the conversation, you really missed a good one. The folk from Essence was here, and they've agreed to feature my friend in their magazine.
How about that?
For her birthday. Girl, let me give you a bell for that.
Essence,
Happy
Troy
birthday,
Carter,
Altreese.
and now
I know.
City Council member Joe Jerusalem.
And look, we about to jump into all the celebrities coming through today. I mean, it's just been... We about to jump into conversation with our councilman, Joe Jerusalem, and I said it off air and I'll say it on air. You will be desperately missed on the council. I know this is your last rodeo. There's nothing I could do to convince you to apply for something else. I don't know.
I have ideas and suggestions.
But thank you for being here with us this morning. I know Will has some questions because there's all of this talk about the Wisner Trust. And what does that mean? What this new ruling means for the city? What does it mean in terms of all of the funding that's attached to it? And so we wanted to hear from someone that we felt had the expertise that we were looking for. So thank you for being here. Thank you for agreeing to talk to us about it. But go on, Will.
Well, and before we get into that, one of the things we've been talking about here at WBOK, and we talked about again this morning, is the millage that narrowly passed. And now there's been an additional challenge. And so as the budget chair of City Council in New Orleans, what does something like that mean for the finances of the city, the finances of the sheriff's office, and going into your last budget cycle this fall? Because the actual current millage doesn't expire until 2026. But as we heard at City Council when the sheriff and others were there are some really big problems. And there's this issue of brass, which has been ongoing, is getting more attention now. But in terms of planning for the future, does this challenge put a halt, stop, pause, or do you keep planning? How does that work?
It's a great question. I think you guys got to keep planning. The legal process plays itself out, and on the break, heard Daryl Ford just saying that the vote total had doubled from 2 votes to 4 votes after they did the recount. So I know you've written about how razor thin it was, and every vote matters. It certainly did here. The bottom line is what I think everybody just wants is how you make sure things are done correctly, and whether you want to admit it or not, from a political perspective, from an operational perspective, and from a financial perspective. That's really how government works, and if people want to ignore the politics, you can't. That's the reality. But the more important things are the operational and the financial. And I think the things that we are concerned with are some of the financial positions that are being taken, and we want to make sure that we're all on the same page moving forward, because there are clearly things that are going to be needed at that facility. People have to be paid right. You're not going to get people working in a jail for a period of time if they're not paid correctly. You got to make sure that the facility runs correctly. You got to make sure there's enough money both to do the ongoing care, just like you do in your house, and longer term things that are capital improvements. So I think, Will, where sort of the tension is right now, both in an email I sent to the sheriff and the CAO sent a more detailed one to the sheriff, and I think the judge who's overseeing the consent decree is asking about how much money does the sheriff really have under her roof? And then going forward, what are the things the sheriff can do to create her own money, for example, or his, as the case may be in the future, by bonding? You know, the city bonds out all the time. That's how you get new roads. That's how you get fixes to buildings. That's how you buy big equipment. But the millage is really a key piece for being able to bond out because it's $13 million a year.
What does bond out mean for folk who are listening, like lay people who have no clue what you're talking about? What does that mean?
Yeah, bonding out really is kind of like you're taking a loan, and that's all it means, really. You're taking a loan, and what the bank in this case, or whoever is lending you the money, they're just looking at, do you have money coming in year after year in order to make sure we can give you more money? That's all that it is.
Kind of like applying for a mortgage.
That's exactly.
We're not going to give you the mortgage if you can't show that you have enough now and that you will have enough.
And correct. And will, like a mortgage or like paying your rent, you know, you have to pay on a regular basis. So, you know, in a house, it's your mortgage payment. In a bond, it's called debt service. It's the same principle. It's the exact same thing. So I appreciate you asking the question because it sounds more complicated than it really is.
Yeah.
But the idea is, like, just like you buy your house, you don't have enough money to put down $250,000, $200,000 for a house. You don't have maybe $20 million or $25 million, but you got this $13 million that comes in every single year. And if you say, I'm going to set aside a couple of million to pay that debt service, that mortgage payment every single year, well, then you can get a lot more going forward. So the goal for me is, how do we all partner together? I don't think it's our job to tell another elected official specifically how to do their job, but at the same time, we got to make it work for everybody. Because also, Will, to your point, the city right now is spending about $65 million for the sheriff. That is a lot of money that could be going other places to serve the community.
I think it's the largest amount, isn't it?
It is the largest outside agency. Yes. There's other things that take up more, but for outside agencies, yes. So again, when it's that type of money, real money, not $100,000, $10,000, $65 million, we got to get on the same page.
Okay. All right. So let's hop into the Wisner Fund. I believe there was a change. It was the Wisner Trust, and now it's a fund. Is that correct?
We're calling it the Wisner Fund because the trust expired. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's right. Okay. So I just wanted to put that out there so that people are clear about that. But the trust existed for 100 years, and that was part of the issue, has been part of the issue of, did it expire or didn't it expire? And I believe I'm correct with this, and correct me if I'm wrong, backdating a extension of the trust, which was the Wisner ladies initially, with the heirs of Mr. Ed Wisner. And along the way, when this happened in 1914, and there were changes in 1929, thereabout. So far as I'm tracking, okay.
You're doing great.
Okay, all right. So then others were able to take advantage of this opportunity based on what Mr. Wisner said he wanted in that 100-year period. So that was Charity Hospital, Salvation Army, Tulane University. Charity became LSU, and there's like a whole thing to how that happened. So basically, it's LSU, Salvation Army, and Tulane University. Am I missing somebody other than the heirs in the city of New Orleans?
No, you got all the players.
Okay, all right. So the Charity Hospital now LSU gets a small percentage, but it adds up to big dollars. Salvation Army gets a small percentage, but adds up to big dollars. And Tulane University gets a small percent, and it adds up to big dollars. So the two biggest chunks are what goes to the city, and it's a matter of who it goes to in the city and what the city what it means to be the city, and the rest go to the heirs, whoever they are, because there's a committee that was formed in 2020, and that committee distributes funds to the heirs, whoever they are. So that part, I believe, is not public. But what we're talking about is the money separate from whatever the heirs get, and whether it should go to LSU, Salvation Army, Tulane University, and the city, or whether the city should get all of that money and the city determine what to do with the money. In the past, and this has not been one mayor, correct?
Correct.
But every mayor since the early 1900s has taken advantage of and used the money the way he or she thought it should be used. City Council's argument has been, but it expired. And so Mr. Wisner's intent has been fulfilled. And now it moves into a different realm, and that is the city of New Orleans, and we, City Council, represent the city of New Orleans, the people of New Orleans. How's my summary?
You're on.
Okay. So this ruling drops from Judge Kern Reese and says, I don't recognize any extension. I don't recognize that there can be another way to divide this money. That part of it is null and void, and we're moving forward. City Council is right. And so what's next?
That's a great question. Doc, if I start getting too lawyer, you stop me, okay? Because I want to make sure I make it as simple as
I promise
possible.
you I'm going to jump in as soon as I have a question for you.
All right. So Will, the trust was created, as you said, in 1914, and it was to exist for 100 years. And what I keep on saying publicly, privately, the simplest way to think about a trust is a body. It holds something. And the trust held, as you point out, 52,000 acres of land in a couple of different parishes, including Port Fourchon, which is a major driver of oil and gas production here in the state of Louisiana. And it generates oil and gas revenues for all of the beneficiaries who were there. So the parts that happened were in 2014, then Mayor Landrieu took the trust to court to say, that the trust had expired, and that B, sort of what the role of the board was. And at that point, the Intermediate Appellate Court, the Fourth Circuit, ruled the trust was going to expire in August of 2014, and that this was a public board and things needed to be done publicly. And so over the next few years, between both Mayor Landrieu and Mayor Cantrell, there was allegedly a winding up of the trust, but that didn't really happen. So to your question, then Mayor Cantrell executed what's called a ratification agreement, or an agreement to extend the trust forever and ever. Mm-hmm. And the council said, time out. The trust expired. Just like, again, being a body, you can't revive a body that's dead. You can't revive a trust that's dead. And instead of being a beneficiary of all of this, so percentages, as you pointed out, the city's about 35%, the heirs are about 40%, Tulane and LSU are about 12%, and Salvation Army, sort of the caboose at about 1.2%. That the city owns all of the property now. So after fighting in court for a couple of years, we filed two different motions. Motion number one is that 2020 agreement that says the trust exists for forever doesn't exist. It's null and void. It can't be legal. It doesn't work. And then number two is, as a result of the trust expiring, which has already been ruled on, that the city is the owner of everything that's in the trust now. And so the court agreed with us on both of those things. So I guess, look, Will, the next couple of things are this. It hasn't been a secret. We've said it out loud. We're trying to work on negotiations with Tulane and LSU. Again, I just talked about the sheriff being our partner and talked about other elected officials. These are major universities who have interest here in the city of New Orleans. We want to see success with the biomedical district, and It's bad business, right? Like, I heard you talking about your wife in the last segment.
Yeah.
Like, fighting with your partner is not a good way to do business at home.
So I guess for me, the very direct question is, is the council now going to be the custodian of the Wisner Fund?
That's a good question. The answer is I'm not sure yet, because Will made the point the city is in dispute. Now, it shouldn't be, because here's the thing. Under the charter, the city is the mayor plus the council, right? And a lot of times we use the city to mean the mayor. That's not really the case. So what I'm doing to help solve that, and in fact, I got to go to work and review it, but y'all are the first to hear about this. We're going to put out some requests for proposal for two things. Number one, put out something that says, what is the value of all of this property? I mean, I've seen values all over the board, slightly less than $100 million, way more than $100 million.
But most of those are just guesstimates.
Well, I think there's, and also yes.
Educated guesstimates.
Yes, and like old surveys too.
Yeah.
And I mean, the world changed, right? So we've got to know what that is. That's number one. Number two is, I want to hire somebody who's going to tell us, for the city's purposes, what's the best thing that we should do with the trust and make it work well for everybody. And then I think the mayor and the council have to work together to decide what that looks like. The bottom line for me is, whatever happens should both try to honor the intent of what Mr. Wisner wanted. I mean, the trust is expired, but that money is supposed to be used for people who are ill, for educational purposes, for recreation. I mean, those are the things that I think we should be looking at. And then, how do we want to make sure it's protected for the future and just not ransacked all at one time?
Well, look, I know that you're busy. It's so much that we could talk about. We have to get you on. I don't like that you came on a Essence Day because this is some like important stuff, and I need time to ask the questions that I want to ask of you. But I know your day is busy. We have to go to break. But do you promise? Because this your last rodeo. You got to come back and just give us some more. I don't know what your schedule looks like.
We'll work on it.
But this listener thing is layered. And there's so many questions, but the bottom line question everybody wants to know is who controls the money, and then what does that look like for the city? But I do have other questions that I want to ask you, and we need more time. So do you promise to come back?
You got it.
I appreciate you. You got to come back before you leave. And again, I'm gonna say it again. I said it off air, and I'll say it again. I appreciate your candidness and your direct way of making things make sense to folk who are in the audience at these council meetings. And to me, your no nonsense, just kind of straight to the point, is going to be missed.
I appreciate
it doesn't feel like it's an agenda, but it's about the people understanding what is happening up there. And I appreciate that. So thank you for who you are. And it's not no bias because you're one of my good friends, brother. Rest in peace to her. But I'm just being honest with you here. But thank you for that. We're going to go to break, but when we come back, we got something to talk about. Shy? The Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, by way of Sheriff Susan Hudson, has asked the courts to ask DA Jason Williams to recuse himself. That's something to talk about right here. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. We will see breaks in the rain, possibly more sunshine in the afternoon, but more storms may fire up with daytime heating, possibly severe. Main impacts, though, would be strong winds. Highs today only reach the mid-80s. Rain ends by late evening. More scattered showers Friday, dry and comfortable for the weekend. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
The National World War II Museum, located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans. The National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank. There's freedom here.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Brian Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta Wise. Shout out to my co-pilot this morning, D. Will Sutton. Hey, Will.
Good morning, New Orleans.
If you're just joining us, baby, you
what
missed,
a show.
It has been a show. You missed the conversation with our councilman, Joe Giarrusso, talking about the Wisner Trust, the Wisner Fund. But right now, it almost feels like breaking news now.
It is.
It almost feels like breaking news. But Sheriff Susan Hudson, the article says, wants the district attorney barred from the investigation into this month's jailbreak. She filed a motion in court to have Attorney General Liz Murrill take over the investigation into any failures. Susan Hudson filed a motion for a permanent injunction against District Attorney Jason Williams, saying the sheriff's office shouldn't be subject to an investigation fueled by personal animus and political campaigning. So I'm going to put a pause right there, because what I want to jump into conversation with you, Will, about is the request is being made, in my opinion, because it is known that District Attorney Jason Williams is supporting another candidate in the sheriff's race.
Oh, he's made that very clear.
So if you have a horse in the race, I think it's only appropriate that you step aside so that it can be a transparent, open, and trustworthy investigation, because it does give an air of you're doing this because you have a dog in the fight. You have somebody that you're supporting, and he's supporting former interim chief of police, Michelle Woodfork.
One of several candidates.
But he is supporting her.
That's correct.
For the sheriff's seat. And so the request is being made by the current sheriff. She's requesting that he recuse himself from the investigation into the jailbreak. It goes on to say Hudson claims Williams' announcement to investigate the jailbreak stems from his support for a certain candidate. She didn't name the candidate, but we are naming the candidate, which we know to be former interim chief of police, Michelle Woodfork. Now, this is no shot against Michelle. This is just stating what
This
the
is
facts are.
about the investigation of the jailbreak.
This is stating what the facts are. The article says is adding Williams' tactics by putting a strain on OPSO resources to give an unfair advantage to his preferred candidate. Hudson doesn't name the candidate in the motion request. However, the document includes a picture of DA and candidate for Sheriff Michelle Woodfork. Williams has asked for investigative assistance from the Attorney General's office. What is your take on that, Will?
Well, the judge granted her motion on Tuesday morning, so that's the first step. And my guess is that DA Jason Williams very well understands politics, but he also understands the purpose and the duties of the district attorney's office. So my guess is that he will likely challenge this in the context of
why?
I'm going to give you the why. In the context of this is my responsibility as the district attorney, and I'm not going to shy away from that responsibility. Now, if there are court rulings to say you cannot, you will not, my guess is that there would be, well, we need to at least be parts of these parts of the investigation because it's such a larger issue. Well, but I understand what you're saying, and if I'm Sheriff Hudson, with now a millage campaign successful by just a few votes, and now a paused re-election campaign, during that pause, I want to get as much done as possible, and I want to get to the bottom of who did this inside job. Who are they connected to? Why did it happen now? And I want to be able to trust whoever does that. So I get that she would trust someone. I don't think she has a lot of options to go anywhere else other than the AG.
Well, I don't know about the clarity around if it will be a better fit to have the Attorney General do it. But what I do know is the optics of having the DA lead the investigation when he openly has a candidate that is vying for that position. It to me, it's only ethically appropriate to step aside. That's no different than Councilman Oliver Thomas and Councilman Joe Giarrusso stepping aside in terms of the fight about the sanitation contract. Because Councilman Oliver Thomas has relationships with one of the people involved in the sanitation dispute, as does Councilman Joe Giarrusso, the law firm that he has done work for. So it's only right that if we want a transparent and open and trustworthy investigation where we don't have to attach a bias to it, then we ask him to recuse himself. I don't know why that wouldn't be a clear thing to do. Not saying he can't do it ethically, just saying the optics of it and the fact that you have a horse in the race, that to me is paramount to why she's asking for him to step aside. Because we need to know that whatever fruit this investigation produces, we need to know that it's not fruit from a poisonous tree. That's the bottom line to that. I am actually in support of this because I think to remove yourself removes the bias that people could attach to it. It removes any indication that you did something inappropriate or not above board because you're supporting a specific candidate. So her asking for him to recuse himself, to me, actually helps him as well. Because then you don't have the heaviness of whatever the outcome is, have it shrouded in, oh, you did that because you're supporting this person, or you made that decision because all of that goes away because now you're outside of the investigation. I see no wrong in that. And I think for the fidelity and efficacy of the investigation, I think that is the best move.
And I believe I'm right. There are multiple investigations, of this jailbreak and what happened. And so Attorney General Muro has been a part of this investigation from the day that it started. The DA has been the lead on the investigation because it's part of Orleans Parish. So what we're talking about, who should play lead and who should be involved.
I don't want him to even be involved. I think it removes him. Yes, he don't need to be involved because it just takes away it takes away this argument that she's saying, and it just clearly makes it a non-biased situation. I don't think he needs to be involved at all. And again, I'm not saying that he is not professional enough to do his job without the air of bias, but everybody's saying that's the elephant in the room. How can he properly investigate this, and how can we trust the outcome of his investigation when he's been dogging the situation, and everybody's attaching the way he's dogging it to the idea that he has a candidate that is vying for that seat.
And you were there at City Council when this jailbreak was discussed and when the sheriff offered her comments. One of the first things she did, and I think a lot of people may have missed it because there are so many questions and there are a lot of answers that were being sought. But one of the first things she did was to thank Attorney General Liz Muro for being a good partner and helping with the investigation. That was one of the first things she did.
Well, listen, I understand politics, and I'm certain that you understand politics as well. I wish I didn't understand politics because then I could live in my little bubble of unknowing, but I do know certain things. And here is the thing. I want our DA to be able to focus on what the DA's office is supposed to be doing. But I remember when he supported Sheriff Susan Hudson for her bid for the sheriff's office. Now he's supporting a different candidate, and simply because of that, the optics they don't look free of bias. It doesn't look like it's free of subjectivity. So we just need to remove that and allow some authors who don't have people who have cleaner hands, right? Who don't have a dog in a fight, a horse in a race, to do the investigation, and then we remove that idea that there's some bias here. Look, I appreciate my general manager for giving us a few additional minutes to talk about this, but I know, like you know, 9 o'clock belongs to the front porch and Grilling the Kimber, so y'all stay tuned up next for that. As far as the Good Morning Show, Dr. Wyatt Will Sutton, we going to see y'all tomorrow. This is WBOK 1230 a.m. what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.